Few things are for sure in this life, but this is. If we live for any substantial amount of time, we will encounter grief due to the loss of a loved one. Not something any of us ever want, and we all handle it differently. This podcast is to feature those who have done purposeful and meaningful things through their grief. These people featured on here are normal folks, just like you and me, who were thrust into a place they never wanted to be in their lives. A painful place. As they move through their pain, they realize that something worthwhile, something for the greater good, could come out of the unthinkable. I'm sure that none of them would ever consider themselves to be a hero, but when I searched the definition of the word hero, I found this: a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. And that fit. And so it's my privilege to bring you the remarkable stories of these heroes in grief. Hi, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Heroes in Grief podcast, and the response has been incredible so far, and I want to thank you for that. It's getting out to people, and they're letting us know that it's helping them, and that is what it's all about. I want to make you aware of a way that you can support this podcast without having to spend 1 cent, and that is through affiliate marketing. I've set up affiliate marketing for online shopping. If you do online shopping, then I have links to all the major retailers, most of them anyways, and I can provide them for you so that when you buy online through those links, you'll help support the podcast through the percentages that we get. It doesn't cost you anything more. You just shop like you regularly would on the sites that you love. It's very easy. All you have to do is shop. And that's it. Just let me know the links to the places that you want to shop at, and I will provide the affiliate links so that you can do it. If you want more information on this, you can go to heroesandgrief.com. It takes you to the Linktree page where a video explains it in a little more detail. But you can always email me at tom@heroesandgrief.com, and I can answer questions for you. But you can support the podcast that way, and it's very easy, very simple, and it doesn't cost you a cent. Isn't that great? Thank you. Now here's today's episode. Excellent. Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, man. You too, brother.
Thanks. I came in late to the call that night.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
For the Helping Fathers Heal. So I didn't hear your story, and I'm glad I didn't, actually, for us to do this.
That's awesome.
So, because it was pretty wild. The guys, the response of the guys at that time was, it was palpable. Like I could tell something went on.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was pretty cool. And I said, well, even at that time, I sent you a message. I don't know if you saw it, but, yeah, I sent a message that night. I was like, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast to tell your story. And then
okay.
afterwards, Warren, got me a hold of, or told me about you again. And he's like, you should have Omar on for sure. So
that
cool.
night was, definitely something. I know I felt it after I hung up, and there was a lot of tears cried after that call. And, just sharing my story, it's about the only thing I can do right now to keep just planting seeds, and hopefully gives, some of us some hope,
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you don't mind, if you're okay with it, I'd love to hear the whole story, and
absolutely.
Like to share that, because what Heroes in Grief is about is to hear people's stories, but then the things that have come out of that for people, for resources, for their own hope, so that is the essence of it all. So from what I understand from yours, there's much hope to be had in all of that. So if you don't mind sharing, we'd love to hear it.
Sure, absolutely. So my Khloe was 3 years old, and she went back home just over 4 years ago, November 4th of 2020. It was unexpected, and we never got a cause as to why she passed. It was very sudden, very quick. and she's a twin to my daughter Sophia, who's still with us. And I also have a 21-year-old son. So like all of us, it hit us very, very hard. Now
Yeah.
back on this past December, just a few months ago, I had not been feeling that great. But you keep working, you keep moving, you keep chugging on like we do.
Hmm.
And I became sick with what I thought was just a chest cold. It ended up being a pneumonia. And during a 2-week period, it escalated from pneumonia to sepsis. Then my left lung and my right lung collapsed. They coded me. They put me on a ventilator, and I was given about a 10% chance of coming out of that situation. My family came down. They were told to say their goodbyes, and my wife signed all the paperwork for do not resuscitate, which was my wish. Um, but it all just the domino effect was so quick. And
Hmm.
again, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm a pretty healthy guy, and it just came out of left field. Um, so I got a lot of treatment, and I was actually woken up on Christmas Day in the afternoon. Um, I don't remember much from, I don't remember anything from the hospital stay. And I don't remember much um, until about 2 days after I woke up is when kind of I start remembering the people around me and what was going on. Um, but during my time away, um, I had a beautiful experience. People call it a near-death experience. I frankly call it a blessing that needed to happen to me. Um, I don't know why I was chosen for it. That's the thing that I don't want to say struggle with, but wonder about a lot because it could
Hmm.
happen to any of us. And like I told the guys before, and everybody that I speak to is just, I wish I could give you just, a little bit of the feeling that I felt, um, and that would make it all worth it. Um, but so I awoke in on a path, a windy path, um, and I tell everyone it was almost like a bluish gray white haze, very light. Um, it wasn't super bright. It was just this haze all over. And this path just that I could see was just a winding path. No bright light at the end. Um, just a winding path that I could see, as far as my eye could see. Um, I began, and that's where I came to there, just kind of standing up and looking around and going, "Oh, where am I?" Um,
Hmm.
as I started to walk that path, and within a few short steps on my left hand side, I began to see a sea of people. I mean, just a ton of people. And as I looked further on off to my left, you know, they were, I could see them very clearly next to me. And as they got further and further and further away, of course, I could see them less, but it was just an immense amount of people. And I could hear, kind of like when you walk into a room and everybody's, they're just kind of talking in a restaurant where everybody's talking and laughing. And I
Hmm.
just all that sound to my left. And that got me to move along that path and look at these people. Some of them were looking at me and smiling, waving. Others were talking amongst themselves. Um, I didn't have any fear. I didn't have any um, worry about who they were or anything like that. And I walked quite a few steps, and then I noticed to my right hand side, I began to see very important moments in my life. Um, just again, to me, it was we all have those days in our lives that we remember so vividly, no matter how much time passes, that you remember everything that was in that room at that place, everything that was said. And I began to see my daughter's birth. my son's birth, my wedding, um, picnic that as a family that we had that just sticks in my mind. Um, my mother who had has passed on now 21 years. Seeing her old house, um, all these little memories in time, but they were actually being lived in. It's as if I was watching them as if they were TV almost, because it was moving along as that day moved along when I experienced it. Um, Not all were good, of course. The passing of my daughter that day was there. Just things from my childhood that, and even my adulthood that just kind of all have always stuck with me. Um, so it was interesting to see that on my right, but I was more concerned about what was going on to my left with all of
Hmm.
these people. And as I turned to my left, there's a woman standing there, and I stopped, and I just felt like the need to speak with her. And she was very fair skinned, long, dark, curly hair, glasses. And I told her, I said, I'm so sorry. I feel like I know you, but I can't place you. I don't remember your name. Where do I know you from? I just have this feeling of being pulled towards you. Um, she looked at me. She smiled. She rubbed my cheek and she said, "Don't worry, you will." And she
Hmm.
rubbed my cheek. She rubbed my shoulder, and she just kind of patted me gently, in a sense, telling me, "Okay, keep walking, keep walking. Don't worry
Hmm.
about it. You will know. You will remember at some point. At some point, I'll be coming into your life." That's the feeling that I got. Um, as I kept walking again, I kept looking to my right hand side. The path was the same. It didn't narrow, it didn't get wider. It was just this beautiful winding path. And I kept looking to those images on my right and reliving those moments in my life, good, bad, indifferent. And it felt like I was walking for a while, a long while. And then again to my left, I see a gentleman further down. And he's this older gentleman with a white beard, and he's got a cap on. And again, I just felt this need to go to him and say, "Hey, um, I, I have this. I feel like I know you. I feel like I know you. I just can't place you." And he didn't say anything to me. He just, smiled, kind of like a shrug, and patted me on the head as if I was a kid. Um, and again, then just sent me on my way. Um, and I continued to walk down this path. I didn't see anyone else that called me that way, that I felt this feeling of just, I have to speak to this person. I need to know who they are, or I need to apologize because I don't remember who they are. Um, and I'm still looking for them at grocery
Hmm.
stores, at work, going to just spend, going to the restaurant or anything like that. I'm constantly looking for these people. Um, Again,
When you stop is when you'll find them, right?
exactly. Yeah. My wife keeps telling me, she goes, just, it's a lot to take in. Just, they're going to show up, or you're going to remember who they are when you need to, when it's time. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to accept that, but it's just a curiosity, in my mind now that it's
Sure. Yeah.
there. Um,
Yep.
so I continue to walk this path, and I come almost to the very end, and the vision that I see is something that I've never seen before, and it was in our very living room, my wife sitting on the couch just crying, my son standing right next to her, comforting her, and my daughter's urn is on the table, and there's another urn right next to it, and it just brought me, the entire time I had felt this sense of peace, yes, but it was fulfillment, just utter fulfillment, as if I didn't need anything else. I didn't need to come back home. I didn't need to see my family. I didn't need to worry about anything. It was just total fulfillment, complete total fulfillment. There was nothing that I was missing. And as I looked at them, I also realized, yeah, this is going to be terrible, but they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. There was no doubt in my mind, and I've heard people say in the past, or I mean, recently, now that I'm watching all of these videos and stuff and stories and reading, I hear people say that you don't want to go back. And for me, it wasn't that I didn't want to come back. It's just I felt as if no matter what happens, they're going to be okay. And there's no
Mm-hmm.
need for me to go back there in order for them to be okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
all taken care of. There's nothing that I could possibly do to make it any better, to make it any worse. It's just total fulfillment, satisfaction of like, okay, they're going to be okay, and I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as I'm watching this happen, I blink, I close my eyes, and all of a sudden I'm in this vast area, no pathway. I could see this mist that I was talking about, this haze, I should say, and at this point, I've sat down. I don't realize that I've sat down, but I've sat down. And out of the left side, where all those folks were, I see my daughter, Khloe, coming out through that
Mm.
haze. And she's
Wow.
got, just as I picture her, she was the only one in our family with curly hair. And her hair's gotten longer. She's gotten taller. Um, and she's wearing a red shirt that I love because it was this red shirt that she had with a little gold heart on it. And I always loved that shirt on her. And she had her little blue leggings and her favorite sneakers. And she comes basically hop skipping over to me. And I'm, of course, saying, "Oh my goodness, Khloe, Khloe, oh my goodness, you're here, you're here." And she's like, "Daddy, Daddy, I love you, I love you." And she comes over and immediately hugs me and then sits on my lap as we used to do, her facing that way, me facing the same way, and I'm just holding her and I can feel it. I can feel it now. It's so real. Smelling her hair, rubbing her belly, touching her face. I can literally feel it with my hands as we speak. And
Mm.
we're sitting there and we're talking. And I didn't realize this till afterwards, but we were speaking and our mouths weren't moving at
Mm.
all. And again, I didn't, when I, you know, days later when I came to and started, and I had the need to tell my family all this stuff, that's when I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, we never opened our mouths. Like we never opened our mouths. It was completely almost telepathic. Um, and I've spoken to Warren and friends and family, and over time, you know, I've tried to regain my faith, and I've tried to walk this path in a way that would not only honor my daughter, but also make her proud. Because I see a lot of people who have lost their children and they find this purpose, and I didn't have a purpose. I don't know what she passed away from. There's nothing that I can do to, invest in this or let's start a charity for this or that. I just felt like I don't have anything to hold on to. I don't have anything to fight for. I don't have a purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
I've told my family, I said, when the girls were born, Sophia, my other daughter, always felt brand new out of the package. Um, she is in awe of everything. She's afraid of everything. Um, but Khloe was always to me an old soul. I would tell my wife, I said, she's been here before and she's come to
Mm.
teach Sophia the ropes. And
Wow.
we would laugh about that. And one of the reasons I said that is because a couple of months before my wife became pregnant with the girls, about 3 months before, we had had a miscarriage, pregnancy, and it happened very quickly. Again, we were getting ready to be parents again after 14 years, and went in and got terrible news that the baby was no longer there, and
Mm.
that also popped into my mind at that time. I said, no, I think that was to me Sophia, and she was too afraid to come. And Khloe jumped in and said, "Okay, I'm going to take you down, and we're going to do this together." Um,
Mm.
and I always kind of, joked about it and talked about it and said, "Oh, if you want something serious done, we got to talk to Khloe. If you just want to have fun and teach, you go to Sophia." But I've, just joking around. We always said that. And as I'm sitting there with Khloe, she looks at me and she says, "I love you, Daddy, and you were right. I did my job, and I did a very good job, Daddy. I was really good, Dad." And,
Mm.
I teared up and I just hugged her for so long and telling her how much I loved her, how much I missed her, how much I wanted to be with her, and how much I wanted to do for her, and how hard I was trying, and just explaining these things to her. And after our time was done, she got up, she gave me a kiss and a hug, and she goes, "Daddy, I love you, and I'll see you soon, but I love you." And as she's walking away, all of a sudden from the right hand side, we have a dog, and the dog runs into where we're sitting, where we are, and my daughter just goes, "Oh my goodness, Leela!" It's our dog, and she's like, "Leela, Leela, Leela," and she always had a connection with our dog. She would come downstairs every morning, drop on the floor, and let the dog just lick her up and down as much as she wanted to, while Sophia wanted nothing to do with the dog. She was just, "No, no, no, I don't want it right now." um,
Mm.
so at that instance, and this will come into play there. At that instance, I took it as her telling me, "Please take care of Leela. I miss her a lot. Take really good care of her," because the dog and I always had a love-hate relationship.
Mhm.
And I would always tell myself, "This is Chloe's baby. We need to, okay, like, it's just do what you got to do, Omar, and take care of her." And um, so I took it in that way. And the dog was just jumping on her and licking her, and she's giggling and laughing, and it made me so happy. And
Mm.
as they're walking away, I blink again, and now I feel that I am laying down. Um, I can't get up, I can't move, yet I'm not afraid, I'm not nervous. I was just curious as to, I wonder why I'm laying down. I can't open my eyes. Um, and I say, "Man, if I could just go back for a little bit longer. I would
Mhm.
love to go back. I just want to keep walking that path. I want to see what's on that path." Um, and it wasn't a booming voice, but it was very stern yet comforting. It reminds me of my dad. Um, and it was just no. Again, stern to the point, but also very calming, very calming. Um, and of course, I want to get up. I want to be able to see. I want to be able to open my eyes. I want to continue that walk. So I attempt to just raise my shoulders and my head, and I feel a heavy hand on my head just not push me, but just gently put my head back down. And I try again, and now I feel the hand here and the hand on my chest just gently forcing me down, almost kind of forcing me through the bed or whatever I was on, kind of pushing me down on it. And again, I hear no. And when that happens, I it's almost like I drop into another space, and that space was horrible. It was it's a large room. It is again the same haze, but the feeling of fulfillment, peace, everything that I was feeling was gone. And I'm on my knees and I am crying hysterically. And I tell people it's almost like someone took all those feelings that I had of guilt and regret and anger and sadness, and I mean all of those horrible feelings, and just shoved it into my chest, and I cannot stop crying. It felt like the day that I lost Khloe. It was the most pain I've ever experienced, and it was the same exact pain. It was palpable. I mean, the feeling was physical, and I am crying and crying and crying hysterically, and I'm just saying, why? I don't want this. I don't want this. Please take it away. Why am I feeling this? And I'm just crying hysterically. And I basically get to the point where I'm just laying on my side, almost in a fetal position. I mean, basically at the point of screaming at how much this hurts, because it is all going not only in my mind, but in my chest, in my soul. I just feel it. It was a horrible feeling, horrible. And again, it's the same feeling that I felt when Khloe took her last breath in my arms. It's everything bad all at once on the chest. So I'm screaming, I'm crying, and then I close my eyes, and that was it. Was like that was it. There was there was nothing after. Apparently, that day that I awoke, which I can only say that it was the day that I woke up, that this trip that I was on ended. My wife was in the ICU, and they strap you in. I've got feeding tube, I've got ventilator, I've got it's a mess. And all of a sudden, she says that I kind of started to jump up and fight the restraints on the bed. So they call the medical professionals in. The nurses and the doctors are just saying he's not supposed to be awake. Like he's on a coma. We have him very, very, very sedated. This isn't supposed to be happening. So they come in, they do what they have to do. They pump me full of stuff and knock me back out. As the hours went on that day, the specialist decided that, hey, we want to see if he can breathe on his own. So they extubated me that evening, and I was breathing on my own. And I don't remember that day. And my wife said I was very heavily sedated, but the following day, the day after Christmas, I couldn't talk because of the tubes and everything. It tears your throat and your vocal cords up, and and she says that I kept, from the restraints with my hand, needing something. I wanted to write something. So my son goes out and gets me a whiteboard and a marker, and I am just writing everything down. It was like I needed to get this out. I needed to tell them that Khloe's okay. She's fine. I saw her. I spent time with her. This is real. This is not a dream. There's more to this. There's more that comes after this. This is just a pit stop. Like and my son took photos of the whiteboard, and, just he told me later on, and again, for me, I remember bits and pieces of that, but it's not a solid memory in my mind at this point.
Hello, friends. I just wanted to take a brief break here in the podcast to make you aware of a very exciting partnership that Heroes in Grief has just formed, and that is with Get Griefy magazine. I'm going to let their founder and editor-in-chief, Kara Sanchez, tell you all about it.
Hey, Heroes in Grief listeners. Life after loss isn't easy, but it can be colorful and full of possibilities. Meet Get Griefy magazine, a vibrant resource filled with inspiring stories of life after loss, expert advice, and voices from everyday grievers and thought leaders. Together, they're here to help guide you toward the side of life that's left to be lived fully and authentically. Dive into Get Griefy for free on Issue or snag a print copy on Amazon. Connect with us on Instagram at Get Griefy Magazine or visit getgriefymagazine.com to explore, join our thriving small business collective, or discover advertising opportunities. Let's embrace life after loss, boldly and together.
And now back to our episode.
So I get discharged about a week later, and I come home and walk through the door, see my daughter, my brother, my wife, my son. And of course, first thing I look for is the dog. I say, oh, I saw Leela. I got to give Leela a hug. I got to give her a kiss because, and my wife then sits me down and says, I didn't want to tell you this because it was a lot to take in, but I had to put the dog to sleep on Christmas Eve. She began to have seizures.
Gosh.
She began to have seizures, and she's 10 years old, and she's had some issues, but I didn't want to tell you. And my eyes just popped open. I had this feeling in my chest of just pounding, and I had, of course, told her the story of what had happened. And of course, I begin crying. She begins crying, as if I needed any other. I don't need any proof. I didn't need any validation with the dog. It was just like this. Oh my goodness! It wasn't that she was telling me to take care of her dog. It's that the dog just joined her when all of this was happening to us, when we were speaking, and the day before I came to. And I mean, again, for me personally, I know what I experienced. I know that it's real. I know it's not some figment of my imagination. It's not something that I wanted to see. It happened. And to come home, and again, they had already spoken about the dog. They had spoken, when they put her down and everything, after I had told them at the hospital, that they were all kind of just in shock. Because, everybody needs a little bit of that validation just to believe sometimes, and even with that, you doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubted for forever. And to have that little last piece of proof, it made it even better,
Yeah.
to be able to share that with people, to be able to share that with the guys in the group when I've joined, and to the guys that I've spoken to afterwards. It just, I wouldn't have said this before. I wouldn't have said this a few months ago. I know she's okay. And not only is there nothing I could have done, but when you love someone, your children, your wife, your spouse, when you truly love someone, you want to give them everything. You want them to be safe. You want them to be healthy. You want them to be happy. You want them to be fulfilled. You want to provide all the wants and needs that they desire. And I truly felt and feel she's getting all of that. So why shouldn't I be? And again, I know it's going to be hard but I'm just going to say, why shouldn't I be happy that she's getting that? Because I love her. That's what I've always wanted, and I couldn't provide. Would I want her here with me physically? Of course. We all would. All of our children. But the fact that this goes beyond my faith, and again, faith is something that you believe in without seeing, but now seeing what is actually to come, what is actually waiting for us, how beautiful, how fulfilling it is. and to see that my daughter is there and she is reaping all of these wonderful things that are all the things that I want for her as a father, as somebody who loves her more than anything. It gives me joy. And
Mm.
that's not something that we find very often with this journey, you know. I mean, you don't get joy from this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crying, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of pain, um, mental and physical. And man, to see her and to have that knowledge now that she is everything that I wanted for her, that I wanted to be able to give to her, she has. I have to have joy for that, and I feel the joy for that, you know. Um,
Hmm.
and it gives me a purpose to share the story because so many of us have lost our. We've all lost our way. We've all lost any type of faith we've had, even those of us that never had faith in anything bigger than us, whether it be God or the universe. You lose faith anyway. You might think that I don't have any faith to lose. You do. You lose your faith. You lose your soul.
Hmm.
And to just be able to share a little bit of that, plant a little bit of a seed in everyone that I can tell my story to, if it gives them even a small seed of hope, even if it's that moment, even if it's years down the line, months down the line, that they go, oh, wait a minute, then I have a purpose that she's given me. And, I, again, not struggle, but I ask, I wonder why it happened to me and not to so many of us, because I'm nobody special. I did nothing special. I didn't, I'm just regular human being. And although my family struggled a lot during that time, it was a blessing. It was a blessing.
Hmm.
It needed to happen. And again, I don't know why it happened to me. Again, I'm no medium. I'm no psychic. I'm none of that. I've been. I mean, I've grew up in a Catholic home, became Christian. I've cursed the good Lord left and right these last 4.5 years. And I just, it's a blessing to have that, to be able to share it, to be able to tell people. I've stopped people, and that's another thing. I've had this feeling of all of a sudden to want to go to certain people that I meet, and it's almost like this urge to speak with them. And if I don't speak with them, I can't walk away. I can't walk away. It just, when you have an argument with someone and you go, I should have said this and I should have said that. It's that
Hmm.
feeling that gets caught, but I can't. And I found myself walking away a couple of instances in the beginning of this and having to turn around. And of course, some people think I'm a weirdo. Others have been very welcoming and kind. Um, so there's been a few that have shed tears with me, but I can't fight that feeling that I'm getting when I'm around certain people. It's been very weird and difficult to navigate, but it's a purpose that I've been looking
Yeah.
for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Um, I,
As I mentioned when we started this, the hope, you're bringing hope to people. And I don't know if you alluded to the fact that you're watching and listening a lot, probably to NDEs, right? Near death experiences. Were you versed in these at all before this happened, or not?
no, no, I'm not someone who. So when I watch TV, it's a lot of comedies.
Hmm.
It's a lot of forensic files, that type of stuff. And honestly, I just always doubted that stuff and kind of said, okay, well, not everybody's going to be seeing the same exact thing. This is like alien abductions. Everybody always says the same thing. And it just, I don't know, it just never felt real. Um,
Yeah.
the people that I listen to, you listen to their stories and you go, that's what calls me in is their story. But the experience, I just always kind of went, okay, that's just not for me. That's not my thing. I don't believe it. I mean, even with Kat Bailey, our medium, she met with her a few times, and she told me things that nobody in this world would have known. It's impossible. I'm not a social media person. I rarely go on. I mean, it just no one could have known. I've been a hermit the last 4.5 years. There's just things that, again, no one would have known. And
Yeah.
even with that, when I would hang up with her, I'd feel good for a little bit, and then I'd go, but maybe it's this, or maybe somehow she found the information this way, or through talking to someone, or maybe when people say, "Oh, you call it into existence," maybe I just been thinking that, and it maybe rubbed off on that person, and um, same thing with religion. I've always been just kind of like, okay, I do have faith, but I don't know about all of that's going on. I don't necessarily believe it. It's too much, too many stories. They don't seem right. They don't make sense. Just very logical. What I thought was a logical person, just looking at the facts and nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, and my reason for that is, I lost my mom when I was 20 years old when she passed away. She also died in my arms. Um, and you lose your humanity. You lose a lot when that happens. And it's been a struggle. I've lost a lot of people here in life that meant so much to me. So death has always kind of just been in my life that way. And it's been kind of tragic all the way along that way. So I just didn't have any faith. I just said, okay, well, you know what? When we go, and that's it. And it was very hard for me to believe the NDEs and these experiences because what I saw with my eyes wasn't what they were speaking about. So I just
Hmm.
ignored it and kind of, made fun of it, just made light of it, made fun of it. Um, but man, now I am, the weirdo and I mean, it is, you're the weirdo to everyone, but it's just, I can't
Well,
not share it. I can't
you
not
know,
share it.
see, this is it though. I've been studying them now. My mom passed in 21. So since then is when I've been looking into NDEs. And then Jeff passed in 23. Um, and people explain away, like you said, like, yeah, I even saw a scientific article recently talking about NDEs and how they're trying to explain, the things, the common elements that come up and everything.
Yeah,
But one thing they didn't address, and you talked about this for you, is that there is a change in the life that is indisputable of the people
absolutely.
that experience this. And
Absolutely.
so you talk about this sensitivity to other individuals and your need to do that, and never having that before, and that never being part of you before, and that type of thing. So that's the proof to me right there,
Yeah.
is those things, the thing that changes people's lives. And this is almost, you know it's the highest percentage across the board. This happens to people,
Yeah.
indisputable changes. And so
And that's something
go ahead.
that I just never, again, I've always been not a shy person, but um, I don't just go up to random people. I've never had these feelings of, I look at somebody and they don't, it's not like I'm walking down at the store or down the street and I see somebody that's crying and something calls you to that person. If you're a kind human being and you say, hey, are you okay? It's not that. It's, they're just walking, they're standing there, they're looking at the vegetables. And I just, it's like almost like my peripheral vision catches them, and I have this gut feeling. It's just, and I end up getting goosebumps at the same time. Like I feel this rush of goosebumps, and I get this just kind of not a knot in my stomach, but just this butterflies in my stomach, and I'm like, I gotta go talk to that person. Nobody knows why. I don't know why. My wife's like, you got to be careful talking to people. And I said, I know that, but it's just,
Yeah.
there's just, I don't know. And I've gone to them. Like I said, I already had more than a handful of these experiences in the last, 4 months. And it's not me. But at the same time, it is me now. And I've told people, I'm like, you change when you lose your child. You're never the same person again.
Yep. You have a
But
soul
man,
connection.
yeah, but
There's
man,
a
like
soul connection.
even looking in the last couple of months, I can't say I'm the same person I was in December. Like not
Hmm.
even close. It just isn't there. Um, and it's not a bad thing. I don't miss that guy. I don't miss what I was doing to myself, what I was doing to my family. I don't miss that. Um, I don't know. I just wake up knowing, listen, there's going to be storms. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be crap that's going to be thrown at me. I know that. That is life. That is what we experience here. That is our lot in life. All those feelings that I felt that moment when I got dropped into that room, I know there's more to come. I have the blessing, I have the advantage to, at the very same time I'm going through it, stop instantaneously and go, this is just a hurdle. Is it going to suck? Is it going to test you? Is it going to make you feel like crap? Is it going to maybe make you regress and take 2 steps back? Yeah. This experience, this trip that I was on, this journey with my daughter doesn't clear me of all of that. It doesn't cleanse me of all of that. It doesn't, that stuff is going to happen to me. I just now have the knowing, because it's not faith anymore. I have the knowing that this isn't it. These things are supposed to happen here. Why? I have no clue. Lessons? I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to be learning. I have no clue. But just knowing that it's temporary, knowing that every day that goes by, every experience, whether it be good or bad, gets me one step closer to reuniting with Khloe, has given me renewed purpose. It's given me life again. It's I no longer have to wonder, am I going to see her? Will I be with her? Or even worse, that I was feeling before, which many of us probably feel this too, is, are they alone? Are they waiting for us? It's like that feeling, and I always go back to this because it's happened to me a couple of times with my kids. I'm pretty sure it's happened to all of us, but you go to a store and your kid's right next to you, and you turn around and they're not there, and they're right behind you. But that moment, those 2 seconds that you don't see them, that just feel like the world is ending, like, oh my gosh, I forgot them. I don't know where they are. They got lost. That feeling that has been there, that I haven't been able to shake for 4.5 years, that I've looked in my rearview mirror in our minivan and seen Sophia on one side, and I'm not seeing Khloe on the other side. I can't tell you how many times the first 2 years I would look up and completely panic because I didn't see Khloe there and I thought I'd left her. Difference is that in the store, your kid tugs on you, and instead of on your left, he's on your right. With us, we have that feeling, and it never goes away. It's that desperate feeling that we get, but there's no relief to it. It doesn't go away. So
Yeah.
now knowing that this is real, that it's beyond real. I wish there were words in our English language to explain it, but it is beyond real. It is there. It is for sure. It is the most logical thing, the most thing that makes sense in my mind now. I don't have to fear that she's afraid. I don't have to fear that she is alone, that I left her behind. I know where she is. Is it going to take me some time to be with her again? Absolutely. I don't know when I'm going to go, and I don't know when I'm going to die, and it's going to stick this time. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's I don't have any of those answers, but I just want to share that with everyone because it takes your belief in one person to say something to you, to give you hope, and we need hope. This is
Yeah.
a real crappy club that none of us signed up for.
Hmm.
None of us expected this. We don't. Who would ever think they would lose their job? No one. No
Yeah.
one. And if I could just let people know that, hey, not only is it real, and if you have any doubts, look me up. Call me. I will sit there for hours and talk with you and drill it in your head. And even if you walk away with an inkling of belief, an inkling of hope, then I've done what my purpose is now.
Hmm. And
And
what reason would you have to be like that? That for the person who doubts out there,
that's the thing.
like,
And
right?
again, it's with anyone, stranger, somebody I know, a neighbor that I see every once in a while. It doesn't matter to me. I will speak with you. I can't not share it. It's been completely and totally life changing. It's like a kid that has a secret, like my daughter Sophia. She can't keep a secret for anything. It's like, oh, we weren't packing presents downstairs. It's that feeling of I can't keep it in, and I have to
Yeah.
speak about it. And I'm pretty sure that my friends and my family, now they some of them have started to laugh and say, oh, here we go. And like, you guys don't understand how beautiful this experience is. And all this crap that we go through here, we're learning something. What that is, I don't know. I don't pretend to know. Is
Yeah.
there
I think
lessons?
there's, sorry,
No, no.
that I'm processing a lot of your story in as you were going through it. And one of the first thing was about the dog, because in NDEs, I know, and like mediums and everything, they're not bringing it through living creatures,
Yeah.
right? So that's the first thing that crossed my mind when you're talking about the dog. I'm like, okay, well, is that dog, he still has that dog? Because that would have been the first time that I ever heard of a living being
Yeah. Yeah.
being in like that. Well,
Yeah.
no, I can't say that because there has been shared experiences with
Yeah.
people who are living and things, but that crossed my mind with the dog. So when you brought that back, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a
Now it
lot
makes
of
sense.
sense. The other thing was when you were talking about the being pressed down in that horror feeling that you had,
Yeah.
you came to this, and that's exactly what I was thinking when you were describing that. Is I was thinking of the horror of finding Jeff that day and what I was experiencing. That's what I was feeling.
Yeah.
What you were describing is what my feeling was.
Yeah.
And I always say I had the wail, the father's wail
Yeah.
that you only hear in that circumstance.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's exactly what I was thinking when you were describing that. So very descriptive, and it brought me right to that point. Another thing that I thought was so interesting is that you spent your time with Khloe, and Khloe goes on, and then you wanted to be back on the path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I, I,
of course, now I know that was probably there too, but you wanted to be back on the path. You wanted to keep going,
yes.
and I thought that was so interesting.
Well, that's the
Have
thing.
you
I've
digested
told
that
that
at
to
all?
well, I've told that to people, and a couple of people have said, well, why didn't you want to spend more time with Khloe? I'd spent my time with her. What I needed, I received. It's hard to explain because
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I can sit here and go, man, I wish I would have said this or said that or did this or did that or spent time long, spent more time or walked with her. But at that moment, as she was walking away with Leela, it just felt so complete.
Mm.
And if I got back on the path, not only was I curious to see what was beyond where I finished my walk, but I know it would end up being with her. It would lead to her. And it was okay. Again, it was complete. It was, I don't want to say it was done. It was just complete. It was okay. This is the time we
Yeah.
have right now. This is the time we have together. This is what I wanted. We got to speak, and I'm going to see you soon. Daddy's got to go back on that path, and I'll meet you over there because
Yeah.
I know that's where she is. I know that's where they are.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but yeah, even I've had some of my family ask me that, like, why didn't you want to spend more time with her, and my wife, she's like, you know, I would have just stayed there. I wouldn't have moved anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, I know, and that's what I would think here, of course, because we're going through it and that's what you want. But I just had this urge I need to get back on that path and continue to explore because no matter how you look at it, we're all going to end up over there at the end of that path.
Mm.
And, for those who are believers in God, what they say, you have free will. You can choose whatever you want, but there's always a plan, right? So there's two paths. I'm just saying two paths, right? And he wants you to go this way, and you start to go this way, but you meander onto the other path, and he'll put something there, a hurdle, an issue, a problem that will force you to come back to this path. And you keep going, and then that free will, you meander back over here. And as you keep going, you get pushed back over here. And it's I don't know. I just it's such an overwhelming feeling that no matter what we do, we're all headed to that same place.
Mm.
It just, and I can confidently say that. Um, I have no doubts in my mind, in my soul, and it's something that I've said a couple of times already. It's like I no longer feel it in my heart, but I feel it in my soul, in my being. It's so true. It's so real. There's no doubting it. It's not faith. It is there for me
Hmm.
because I've seen it, because I've experienced it.
Yeah, and that
And
human struggle always comes in, the humanness that we have. And that's the other things you
absolutely,
were talking about, where
absolutely.
we're still going to experience grief. We're still going
Oh,
to experience these horrors. That's our human side.
yeah,
You're balancing the human and the eternal,
absolutely. And listen, I've been
and the
home.
divine.
I've been home since January, and I'll tell you, I've had struggles here at home. Whether it's been setbacks with my health, getting sick again, going back to the hospital, struggling with my own body, no longer matching what my brain wants to do. Um, and I've sat there and watched videos of my Khloe every month on the 4th of every month, and I have cried. I have
Hmm.
cried because I love her. I have cried because I love her, and it's a different cry. And again, that's why I I I wonder. And beyond being honest, it is a bit of a struggle as to why it was me and not one of the other dads that's on the call,
Yeah.
because I feel selfish. I feel like remorse that that sits there briefly and says it shouldn't have been me. It should have been this guy or that guy or that guy. They're amazing people. They're doing so much for the group. They're you call them, they pick up. Like, those are the guys that need this. And why me? The guy that came on 4.5 years ago and couldn't get a word out on his first call. The guy who joined groups and then dropped groups and became a hermit and pushed his family away and became depressed and tried to take his life and then tried to join group again and then backed out again and made commitments and backed out again. So I don't feel deserving of it. And
Yeah.
that's something that I'm going to have to deal with. But again, it's okay because that's part of the struggle. That is part of the grief, and it's going to suck. But that's okay because now I have that. Again, I know what's coming. And a lot of this stuff here that happens to us, aside from our grief for our children and that pain, it doesn't hold the same weight that it used to for me anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so
I think
it,
you're experiencing a lot of what's I've heard too from many who have experienced a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience, something where they've been taken to the other realm, and they do experience that euphoria, all those things you've talked about, and they have a difficult time when they come back into to humanness and reality to
yeah.
balance that. But I think, brother, I think you're doing good. I think you're doing real good with it because you've discovered the purpose to some degree in it. And so that's what a lot of them don't understand yet, and they don't know why, and they don't know how to
Yeah.
relate it, and they don't know how to put it into an effect,
Well,
into
for
something
me,
that's going to mean something for people.
it's the first thing that has made any sense in the last 4.5 years. And again, listen, these people can think I'm weird. They can think I'm the creep of the neighborhood or the crazy dad that walks into the stores to talk to. But I can't not do it. I just have a need. And it's a need that, again, if I walk away and get, there was one particular situation where I got to my car in the parking lot of our local Publix and had to turn around and go back into the store. And my wife is looking at me like, you are absolutely nuts. What is wrong with you? You lost more brain
And you're probably
cells.
just walking like shaking your head
Yeah,
like
yeah. And she's literally like, you've lost more brain cells than what I thought when you were like, gone. Like this is, yeah, I know. She's like, I know you lost a lot of oxygen. You didn't have your lungs there for a while, but my goodness, but I just can't not share it. I can't not go to those people and just say, I just need you to listen to me for 2 minutes. That's all I need. 2 minutes of your time. You can think I'm nuts, but I just need 2 minutes of your time.
mm,
And the other thing that I wanted to say was for us dads and us parents that are grieving our children, don't doubt the signs. Don't doubt
mm.
them. They are trying so hard to get your attention, but we are looking for blatant, oh, it was her favorite color, her favorite shape, her favorite food, her favorite this. No, they will send you those when you need them, not when you want them. Everything that you see between that, keep your eyes open, open your mind, open your soul, and receive it. And don't doubt them for anything or anyone because they are trying so hard to let you know that they are there with you when you need them and just when they want to see you. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, sometimes I see a bird and I think to myself, oh, it's happenstance, or a butterfly, or it's happenstance, or, I found the pebble on the floor that was shaped with a heart. It was happen. No, it's not happenstance. There is no, uh, um, these things don't just happen. They happen because they are doing it for you. They
Yeah.
are showing you it's not a coincidence. It's not a
I don't believe in
coincidence.
coincidences at all.
No, no, and that's the thing that I've learned the last 4 months. There's no coincidences at all, at all. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just excited about it. It's just the one thing that has brought me now is it's to my faith, and I was baptized on Mother's Day. Mother's Day means a lot to me because I lost my mother when I was young. I have an adoptive mother who's amazing. I have my wife, who I know has struggled the last 4.5 years. And it meant a lot for me and my family to be baptized at my church. And again, no coincidences. My son pulls out his phone and he goes, Dad, look at this. A video I have never seen before that he took when he was 14 years old. And it's him taking a video of the girls while he's sitting in the back seat, 7 years to the day that we've got to take them home from the hospital. Never saw that video. Never
Wow.
even know it existed. He had no clue he had it on his phones in this memory, and it just popped up as a memory all of a sudden. And again, it's all of these little things that they send you to let you know, hey, we're here. I love you. I'm still by you. I still need you. It's just
Hi, Dad.
Don't ignore it. Yeah, don't ignore it.
Hi,
Don't
Dad.
exactly. Don't bypass it. Don't double think and triple think and no, they are trying so hard. You just have to be open to it and don't try to look so hard for those obvious ones because when they're gonna send you an obvious one, it's when you need it and they know you need it. And you don't have
Hmm.
to look for it. And most of the times that happens when we're just again yelling and screaming and crying and in that desperate place is when they'll go. And through that pain and through all that stuff that we're feeling, that's when the obvious ones come out because then they really want to say, hey, I'm feeling what you're feeling. I'm here.
Hmm.
But everything else in between, it's like little kisses, little hi dads, little hugs,
Hmm.
little holding your hand. So it's an amazing thing. And again,
How beautiful.
I just really hope that people, um, the dad's going through this, the mom's going through this, whoever listens to this, that give yourself grace and know that they're there. And I wish I had answers. I don't. You don't experience that and come back with all the answers. You don't. You don't. I don't. There's a lot of questions I have. But if I can repeat my story over and over and over, and whether it be in private, a podcast, whatever, side by side, a phone call, whatever, I will, because I think it's worth it for us to have a little bit of hope in something that I hope we all have faith in, which is to see our children again. And I can tell you with 1,000% confidence, we will see them again. And time doesn't work like it works here. So trust me, it's a lot longer here than it is over there. But it's a beautiful thing, and I'm just again, I'm not sure why, but I'm beyond grateful that it happened to me. And if it had to happen again, I'd do it all over again. I wouldn't change a thing.
Beautiful, Omar. Thank you. That is a perfect way to wrap this up right there.
Thank you, Tom. I
Brother,
appreciate.
we just met. And I got to tell you, I can say in all sincerity, I love you
I
dearly.
love you too,
And
brother.
I know we're connected. This is why these things happen, because we're
Absolutely.
to be connected.
Absolutely.
And so many things we could talk for hours after this. I know
Oh yeah.
that. So I'm going to get your number. We're going to stay
Absolutely.
connected because I've got a lot of things I could share with you too that you confirmed a lot for me and encouraged me and gave me,
Awesome.
I share a lot of the same things about feeling that I know and those type of things too. But our humanness will always fight us on that. And so I love every time that there is a confirmation to bring it back around again and say, nope, here it is. And this is fact. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
And Tom, thank you,
I
man, for
appreciate
doing
it.
what you do, man. You give us a lot of hope and a place to come to tell our stories. And again, it takes a lot of strength, man. I could not see myself doing what you're doing in this short amount of time. And man, you deserve every blessing, brother. Every blessing.
I'm just trying to do what I feel I'm being led to. That's all. We get, like you said, you get the pull, you get the tug.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. So that's
They're
about
good
it.
guides. They're amazing guides. We just got to follow
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the ripple effect works out from us from doing that. And that's the way I look at it. So
Absolutely.
it's the greatest thing to hear from people that's had that effect. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Thank you. And
No, thank
like I
you,
said,
man.
we'll keep in contact off
For
air
sure.
here and share some things. All right. Thanks for
All
being
right.
on Heroes in Grief.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Heroes in Grief podcast. If you'd like access to any of the links that we discussed in today's show, you can find them in the show notes. There's also a link there to support the podcast if you care to. And there is an email link for me there. I'd love to hear from you and your ideas about the show or what you thought about the show. You really can help out this podcast to get to more people if you subscribe, rate, or review it in whichever way your platform provides. Each week, Heroes in Grief is released on Sunday, so look for new episodes there. Thank you again for listening to Heroes in Grief.